Hi everyone, my name's Jess, aka Colouring Bumblebee, and I'm back today with another video for you all. Today is going to be my completed pages for the month of April 2024. I got a lot done this month. I thought I would start this video by showing you my stats from April 2024. I coloured 27 pages this month, which I think is joint for my record from last year. I think I coloured 27 pages as my most coloured in month from last year, so I was really happy about that. 8 of those pages were colour by number pages. One of those was a double page spread. I completed 2 whips. I did 12 individual buddy colours, which I was super happy with. I had a lot planned and I managed to get a lot done. I also have a lot planned for May, so hopefully I'll get just as many done for next month as well. And I participated in 4 group colour alongs on Instagram. I coloured in a total of 21 books. I purchased 7 books this month. I coloured in 10 previously untouched books, which was great for me, and that means that I have 42 remaining books that are untouched, which is 33.33% of my whole collection. That means that I have touched 2/3 of my colouring book collection, which is great. It's a real goal of mine this year to colour in more of my untouched books, and I'm working pretty well to sort of achieve that goal. I'm not sure if I'll get to 100% by the end of the year, but hopefully close to it. It's especially difficult when I keep buying books every single month. Just means there's more books that I need to touch. So that brings my total pages coloured in 2024 up to 91. And I started 5 whips this month. So we will go straight into my completed pages for the month. I'm going to leave my journal open on the side here for me to refer to it whilst I am showing you all the books. I decided this month to do it a bit differently. I'm going to show you the books in the order that I coloured them in, rather than size order, which I've done previously. I just find that I can't be bothered to zoom in and out for different size books, so I thought it would be nice to show it in the order I coloured them in. So the first book I have is Mania Volume 1 by the lovely Gabby Wolf. This is my full book colour along over on Instagram, and this was the page that was actually for March. I was a bit late at finishing this. I tried really hard to get it done for the end of March, but didn't quite get it finished. The end of March was quite busy for me as it was Easter and I was working a lot. My work does a lot of different events for different seasons of the year, so Easter was definitely a busier time, especially that Easter weekend. So I coloured this page. I based it with alcohol markers, as you can see from the back. I used my touch art ones, and then I went over the top with polychromos. I wanted to keep the colour palette quite limited, focusing on the greens of the leaves, and I sort of accented it with touches of this purpley pink and the red for the mushrooms. And yeah, I really like how this one turned out. I unfortunately didn't get round to finishing April's this month. I got to this point and felt a bit lost of where else to go with the page, so I thought I'd leave it for a few days or weeks and I'll come back to it. And I will show you the page that has been selected for May. I'm really looking forward to colouring this one. I think them in the carrot garden is just so cute. Picking carrots ready to go enjoy inside their mushroom house. So that was Mania by Gabby Wolf. Next up, I've got Summer Nights by Hannah Carlson. And this was a buddy colour with Laura from my colouring journey. And this is the page we did. This was actually planned to be done in March, but I didn't quite get it finished, so I finished it at the start of April. And I decided to really challenge myself this page, and I came up with a colour combination for rose gold, and I think it actually looks really effective. I used Prismacolors for the whole page. I really loved how they worked on this paper. They laid down really smooth and were super creamy. And then I accented the watch with some metallic silver Uniball gel pen, and I've also got some glitter gel pen dots around the edge. I will move mine across to the side and show you my colouring journeys here. I really love the colours that she used on her page. I love how she added a bit of a background. I was a bit too scared to do a background for mine because I loved how the main image turned out so much. I didn't want to detract from it, and I thought the image looked complete enough without it. I don't think that every page needs a background. Sometimes it definitely does, but for ones like this where it's an image on a page, I think it can look just as nice on a white plain background. So that was Summer Nights by Hannah Carlson. The next book I have is Seasonal Wreaths of Plants and Friends by Makiko Inotome. And this was a buddy colour with the lovely Tonya from Tonya Colours. And we did this Easter spread. I found a limited colour palette online. You can see those colours here. I decided to add the purple to it because I felt like it needed another colour. But it used this sort of minty green, the pink, the yellow, lighter and darker blue. And then I added the purple and also the brown for the creatures on the page. And yeah, I absolutely love how this turned out. I will move mine across to the side and show you Tonya's here. Hers turned out beautiful as always. I love colouring in this book with her. And we do have another page planned for next month, and it is this cute spring bunny wreath page, and I can't wait to colour this with a couple of bees, which, you know, always excites me to colour. And I just think this bunny in particular is super cute. So that was another page done in Seasonal Wreaths of Plants and Friends by Makiko Inotome, one of my favourite books at the moment. Thank you to Tonya for colouring with me. And I've got Petit Poupée by Hatchet Hero. The illustrator is Capucine Sauvignon. I'm not sure if I said that right, but I gave it a go. And we coloured this Mulan page of her sort of in this spring scene. And I coloured this with Christine from Sanka Colours. And we have actually decided to make this a project book together. And we're going to colour every page in this, at least one a month, maybe two if we get the time. And I'm really looking forward to filling this book up with colour. I've already actually coloured Maze. I coloured that yesterday on the 1st. I just loved it so much. I based the image with alcohol markers, and then I went over the top with Prismacolors. And I did the background at the end. I used soft pastels. I just sort of applied it with a, what's it called, like a cotton pad, and it just created this nice soft gradient in the background, which I'm really pleased with how it turned out. I used a little bit of gold gel pen on the comb there, and some white paint pen for highlighting the hair and some other areas on the page. Yeah, I absolutely love how this turned out. I'll move mine to the side and show you Christine's here. Hers turned out gorgeous. She used a really bright green for the grass, and I absolutely love how hers turned out. And I can't wait to colour more in this book with her. So thank you, Christine, for colouring with me. That was Petit Poupée by Art Therapy Hatchet Hero. Then I coloured in this book. This was just by myself. This is Colouring Book for a Bright Day Together by Stella Park, and this I got from the Korean store Aladdin, and I coloured this page. As you can see, I tried to replicate the colour palette on the other side, and I loved every single second of colouring this page. I had a lot of fun using colours that I don't often use, these sort of muted reds, purples, greens, yellows. It was a lot of fun to try and replicate. I used my polychromos, which worked perfectly for this page. I felt like the colours, the sort of more muted tones, matched the colour scheme there. And I just did this really simply. I just used polychromos, no accents on it. And I had a lot of fun just trying to replicate what they had over on the other side. And this is a book that is quickly becoming one of my favourites. It's one that I would love to see completed, and I think I'd like to colour something in it every month. because I was replicating the image, it was quite a quick and easy page to do. And you're just sort of there with your pencils, just playing with the colour, adding layers, which with the polychromos just works beautifully. So that was the colouring book for A Bright Day Together by Stella Park. Then I've got Magic Jars by Colouring Heaven. This is a pocket size edition of their magazines. And I did 2 pages in this month. The first one I did was The Elephant in the Rain. This was for Christina's Art Corners colour along on Instagram. She picks a page from this every month, and this was the page for April. I based it with my touch art markers, alcohol markers, and then I went over the top with Prismacolors. And I kept the colour palette really simple. I had a vision to try and colour the bubbles rainbow, and I made it very subtle. You can see the colours sort of there, the sort of rainbowy colours. And then I finished this page, put it away, and a few days later I looked at it and thought, it needs a bit of sparkle. So I went over all the raindrops and the bubbles, trying to get it to pick up. It's with the Spectrum Noir. Yeah, you can see it in the raindrops in the middle there. Went over with the Spectrum Noir clear glitter pen. It is this one here. It has a brush on it, and this just applies a clear sort of shimmery glitter over the top. I think it's similar to Wink of Stella, but that was quite expensive and this was more readily accessible to me. And yeah, I just love adding it for a little sparkly touch. I'm so annoyed that it's not picking up properly on camera, but in real life it looks really stunning. So that was the Elephant in the Rain picture. Then I also went back and coloured this page. Christina picked this one for the month of March as I colour along, but I didn't get round to colouring it. And I enjoyed colouring the other page so much, I thought I'd come back and do this one. I did the same techniques. I based it with my Touch Art alcohol markers, and then I went over the top with Prismacolors again. I originally based the tree, you can see it was quite an orange toned brown, and that was not the vibe I was wanting. I was wanting quite a natural toned wood. And so I went over with the pencils and managed to sort of get rid of that orangey tone and make it more sort of a neutral tone. And yeah, I love this page. It makes me really happy looking at it. I added a bit of glitter gel pen to the wings of the butterfly, the centre of these flowers here, and also to the circles in the background and the circles around the flowers. Sorry. I knew when I saw the image that I wanted to use purples and browns, and yeah, the rest of the image came together really quickly. I'm loving colouring in this book. She has picked out the mermaid picture for May, so I'm really looking forward to colouring this one. That is from Magic Jars, the Pocket Edition by Colouring Heaven. Then I coloured my first page in 50 Desserts Themed Miniatures by Comedia Angel Cova. And this was a buddy colour with the lovely Zoe from Addicted to Colouring here on YouTube and Instagram. And we picked this bee page. And I just love how it turned out. I kept the colour palette really simple. I knew I was going to make the cake all honey themed. And then I thought pink would accent nicely with it, and a nice light blue in the background. I just used a compass to draw this circle in. I based the whole image with alcohol markers. I used the Touch Art ones, and then I went over the top with my Arteza pencils, which I haven't used in quite a while, but I really like the browns they have. I think it makes for a really nice cake colour. And then I also added the Spectrum Noir shimmer on the wings. It's not picking it up. No, you don't think you can see it, which is frustrating. But yeah, there's a nice just subtle shimmer to the wings, which I just love doing just to add a little bit of sparkle after colouring the wings normally on top. I will move my page across to the side and add Zoe's here. I love what she did with the background. She added lots of different elements, and it was a lot of fun colouring and chatting with her about it. I'd love to do another page in this with her sometime, as this is quite possibly my favourite Comedia and Jokova book. I just love all of the dessert themed pages in here. I did have the carrot cake page tagged to do for Kathy Spicy Cat Colours. Now I can't find it. The tag just flew out. Where is it? I did have this page tagged, Colourful Kathy Spicy Cat Colours Buddy Colour for the month of April, but I just didn't get time to colour it. But I'd love to colour all the pages in this book, to be honest, so that could wait for another month. So that was 50 Desserts Themed Miniatures by Comedia and Jokova. Then I finished a long-standing whip. This was from Mythic World by Kirby Rosanas. And I finished off the White Stag page. This I started last year in, I think, November time. And when I coloured it, I decided to really challenge myself with light reflections. So I added sort of reflections of light in the water with the yellow. I added, and I based the whole image, I based the background, the trees, and the grass with a mixture of my Tombow dual brush pens and my Ohuhu dual brush pens. And then I left the water and the stag to colour with my polychromos. Went over the top of everything with polychromos. And I decided to make this background a nice yellow colour to create the light reflection techniques sort of on the water. I still have a long way to go with sort of my light reflection. I think the stag is what's let me down. I love how the water turned out, but the stag I think could be a lot better. But I did really enjoy this page. I was happy to come back to it. Glad it's finished now, and another page completed in this book by Kirby Rosanas. That was Mythic World, Kirby Rosanas. Then I finally got Frogs and Friends colouring book by Chris Reiniak. I got this to participate in Disney Meg's colouring and Amanda Colours colour along every month in this book, and this was the page they picked out for April. I decided to challenge myself and mainly use my alcohol markers for this page. So I used my Ohuhu alcohol markers, and you can see from the back that I did a lot of blending, quite a lot of layers to try and create sort of depth. The only pencil work I did was a little bit of pink for the cheek, and also some black pencil to sort of emphasise some of the shadows. I think added a nice touch. And then I added the Spectrum Noir glitter pen on the wings, which you can barely see. This is so frustrating. I need to figure out a better way to show this on camera because it looks really pretty in real life, but it just doesn't seem to be showing up on camera. So that was my first page coloured in this book, and I'm looking forward to colouring more. And I've also got the entirety of the first volume to catch up with, so I will show you the page they've picked out for the month of May, and I also picked out a page to colour to catch up from the first volume because they are on to the second volume from the PDF version. But this printed book I got on Amazon contains volume 1 and volume 2 of the Frogs and Friends colouring book collection by Chris Reiniak. Then I did a buddy colour in Matchstick Mouse Springtime colouring book. This was with Laura from Kaleidoscopic Colours on Instagram, and we did this lamb page, and I am so pleased with how this turned out. I wanted to do a fun gradient for the background, and I thought I would challenge myself to do it with alcohol markers. I used the Ohuhu alcohol markers for this one, and I think I did about 3, maybe 4 layers of the alcohol markers to get this nice blend, and I think it just looks adorable. I went over the top of the image with Arteza Expert pencils, And the lamb I highlighted, well, not highlighted, I covered up all the black lines with a white paint pen, and I just think it made the lamb look so cute and fluffy. I just want to stroke it. Looking at this page really makes me smile. It's a simple page, it didn't take me long to do, but just the bright spring colours I really love. I will move it across and show you Laura's here. I love how hers turned out. Also a super bright and spring vibe page. So thank you, Laura, for colouring that with me. Another page completed in Matchstick Mouse Springtime Colouring Book by Morgan O'Brien. Then I coloured my first page in Mythographic Fairy Wonderland. This was a buddy colour with Amy from Amy Ward Art. She is one of my greatest friends here on Instagram and YouTube. And we coloured this fox page, and I just love how this turned out. I am going to put a picture on the screen here, probably here, of an inspiration picture I found online. I wanted to keep the colours of the fox light, bright and spring toned. I wanted to create a very spring tone page. I used Ohuhu alcohol markers to base on the background, and I went over the top with my polychromos and also the, what are they called? The Brute Funa macarons, the pastel pencils, to create these really soft colours. And then I got to do in the background, and I thought a nice dark olivey green would look really magical, and I think it looks great as sort of like the background of the forest. I think this is the best choice I could have made for the background. And then I added some glitter gel pen to the outline of these sort of flower bulb things, and I used Antec metallic watercolour for these circles, which adds a beautiful shine, and also a metallic watercolour on the fairy wings, which gives it this gorgeous iridescent shine where it looks clear in one light and sort of pinky greeny in another light. I just thought it would look stunning on this page. And I will move mine across and show you Amy's, and wow, this is quite possibly one of the best pages I think she's ever coloured. I think it's just absolutely stunning. The way she coloured the light reflections, the white fox really pops off the page and is just a completely different vibe to mine. So thank you so much to Amy for colouring that with me. I had a lot of fun, and it was both an untouched book for both of us, so it helped us to work in our collection, and I can't wait to colour more pages in this book. It really is a stunning book, and this has to be one of my favourite pages from the month. So that was Mythographic Fairy Wonderland. This one is by Fabiana Attanasio. Then I have Romantic Country, the third tale by Eerie. And this was a buddy colour with the lovely Jodie from JI Colorist. This is the first time we've buddied together on a page, and we had a lot of fun chatting with each other about what our process for the page was like, what we were doing, and our pages turned out very different from each other. I used Prismacolors on this page. I knew immediately when I saw it I wanted to do a pink cottage. My initial thought was doing a pink roof, but then I was like, what colour should I do the cottage? I thought if I do a pink cottage and a pink roof, it would all sort of blend together. So I thought I'd go for the pink and then do sort of a reddy tone for the roof, which is actually one of my favourite parts of the page. I love how the roof turned out. I love how the bricks turned out. I'd spent a while sort of layering the pencils, making variations in colour, colouring some lighter, colouring some darker. It was a lot of fun colouring the cottage and the roof. And then by the time I got to the sort of leaves and trees, I decided to go different and do a bluey tone green. I wish I'd chosen something different. I do like how it looks in the end, but these trees, the pencil blending isn't my best work. But I don't mind because I love the cottage so much. I'll move this across and show you Jodie's here. She went for almost a complete opposite colour scheme to mine. She used blues and she used a variety of mediums on her page, and it was beautiful. So thank you so much to Jodie for colouring that page with me. I had a lot of fun, and it was another page completed in Romantic Country, the third tale by Eerie. And this was another new book to me this month. This is Colour by Number Animals by Jade Summer. And I decided to get this book as another book in my collection that I could colour when I'm feeling tired at the end of the day and I don't have the energy to think about colour palettes, shading, whatnot. And I just want to add colour to a page. So, and this is a bit simpler than the Coloriage Mystère Disney Colour by Numbers. I started by colouring this koi fish and I just love how it turned out. Super bright, super bold, super vibrant. I did go through and create my colour chart based on the colours from the back. I try to use exclusively my touch art markers, and some of the colours aren't the most accurate, but I think it works for what I would need it for. And yeah, I think I might just work in this book front to back. I love this otter page from the front cover. Looking forward to colouring that one next. And yeah, just a fun, easy colouring book to add to my collection. Colour by Number Animals by Jade Summer. Then I've got Lost and Found by R.J. Hampson. This was actually my very first ever R.J. Hampson page that I coloured. I absolutely adore his artwork. Sorry about that. I absolutely adore his artwork, and this is actually a project book with me and Dana from Dabbler D on Instagram. And this was the first page we coloured. This is Paradise Lost. And I decided to challenge myself by trying to have the moon create sort of reflective light effect on the rest of the image. So I kept these quite harsh white highlights on the tree and the bushes and all the elements on the page. Not sure if it completely paid off, but I tried my best. I gave the bottom of the snow globe this sort of metallic-y effect, and I accented the image with a little bit of silver metallic gel pen from Uniball Signo. I kept the colour palette quite limited. I knew I wanted to have a pink tree, and then I just sort of brought in some darker shades of that pink for the rest of the image. I coloured this completely with polychromos, which is definitely outside my colour comfort zone. I'm used to having alcohol markers on the back of the page, but I wanted to keep it quite light and soft. I didn't want the bright, vibrant, bold colours for this page. I may change my mind for the rest of the pages in the book, but we'll see. And I will move mine across and add Dana's here. She did a gorgeous sort of yellow tone for the tree. She pictured it as if the tree has just changed seasons, which I thought was gorgeous. And the way we have decided to do this book is she's going to colour all of the light images from the front, and I'm going to colour all the dark images from the back, just to have that sort of variation and do something a little bit different for our buddy colour. So that was my first page from Lost and Found by R.J. Hampson. Next, I've got the double page spread I coloured this month, and this one I've been working on since, well, the middle of February, really. This is when I first started the page, and it's this double page spread, the Pancake Party. And this was a buddy colour with the lovely Sandra from Colourful Diary here on YouTube and also Instagram. And this was a labour of love, this page. I started off with the pancakes and then did some of the sort of berry details on the page. Then I did the flags, tablecloth, and it was just a lot of small details, and I would colour sort of part of the page and I would put it away for weeks, and then I'd bring it back out, colour a bit more, put it away for weeks. And I was determined to finish it by the end of the month, and I finished it on the last day of April. So Colourful Diary was waiting quite some time for me to finish this, so thank you for being so patient. I will put hers across the screen here. She used such a fun, vibrant colour palette. I love how she used washi tape for the tablecloth. She did a fun, bright colour for the background and added confetti to it, which I think is such a fun touch. She said on Instagram that it looks like mine's sort of the outside version, hers is the inside version of this party, and when I coloured it, I never thought of it being inside, so it was quite an interesting idea. I just pictured it as an outside scene. from the first time I saw it, so it's great doing buddy colours and how different people interpret the page. This was a lot of fun. I'm so glad to have it done now. I didn't say, but it was coloured all in polychromos. I wanted to keep it sort of a bit more of a muted colour palette rather than the bright prismas. And yeah, looking at this page now, I do love it. And I'm glad it's done. And another one done in Romantic Country, The Second Tale by Eerie. Sorry there, I just had to pause the video. My parents came home and I needed to move my car so they could get back. Moving on to the next page I coloured, which was in 50 Farmers Miniatures by Comedia Angel Cover. And this was a buddy colour with Winter, 89 colours on Instagram. She didn't get quite the time to finish her page this month, which was absolutely fine. So she's going to send me the picture and I will make sure to post both of ours on Instagram as soon as I get them. I based this with Touch Art alcohol markers and then I went over the top with my polychromos. I tried to channel my inner Erica from Colours with the cow and creating sort of a fluffy texture. It didn't quite work the way I planned. I need to focus more on it. I think I could have got a more defined fur texture. Maybe I just need to use some dark coloured pencils and make the flicks a bit more pronounced. But this was an easy page to colour, especially after the pancake party page. And it only took me sort of, I think I spent one day basing it and the next day going over the top with pencil shading. It was a lot of fun. And my first page coloured in this book by Comedia Angel Cover. Then I coloured in Small Victories. This was a buddy colour with the lovely Colouring with Amy here on YouTube and Instagram. And we coloured these mini trucks. And I used this colour cube palette as my inspiration. As you can see, I used the same colours, tried to match them as best as I could. And I had a lot of fun playing with the colour combinations on this page. I actually did a mock-up of this page and the colour palette on my iPad using Procreate. I've done that in the past where I know I'm using a limited colour palette and I want to make sure the page looks cohesive. I will do a mock colour on my iPad using my Apple Pencil and Procreate and just sort of roughly colour where I want certain colours to go, and I can change them, play around with them. It took me a lot of time trying to make it look as cohesive as possible, but I love how it turned out. I will add Amy's here. She didn't use a limited colour palette, which I absolutely love. She just used as many colours as she liked, and we both decided we didn't need a background for this page. I think for this book I'm going to challenge myself to use colour cubes for the different pages. I feel like it lends itself really well to limited colour palettes, this book. I do have a plan to use the same colour scheme for this butterfly. I think I'm going to do that as a speed colour on the channel for this month, so be on the lookout for that. Thank you to Amy for colouring with me in Small Victories, another page coloured in this book by Johanna Basford. Then I coloured in Wild Fairy Tales by Eerie. This is a project book with Megan from Disney Meg's Colouring. And this month we did the Red Riding Hood page. And I had a lot of fun colouring this. I decided to do a limited colour palette. This was one I just thought up in my head. I wanted to do red, pink, cream, blue and green and brown for the wood. And it was a lot of fun. Sorry, my voice is going now. Sorry, I've been talking too long and my voice is starting to crack a bit. So I had coloured this with Disney Megs. I used Prismacolors for the whole page. And it was a lot of fun again. I decided I didn't want to... I was sort of a bit concerned about doing all these jars, about keeping the colour palette cohesive and not looking strange, but I think it works. They could be gumballs or whatever. I will move mine across and put Megan's here. She did her signature red and teal colour palette, which is always a joy to see. Megan loves that colour palette. I always think of it as her colour scheme. Whenever I see red and teal together, it reminds me of her. So that was the page we did together in Wild Fairy Tales by Eerie. And the final few books I have to show you are my colour by number books, so this will be nice and quick. First one is Nature. I did this Piglet page. I wasn't happy with this when I finished it. The pinks were way too bright for Piglet. On camera it looks slightly better, but it looks very neon in real life, which I don't like. So I did that one from Disney Nature. Then I did a few in Disney Vitro. I did Joy, which was a lot of fun to colour with all the bright colours. I did Lucifer. My mum picked out this one, the cat from Cinderella. This was also fun to colour, bit of a different colour scheme in this one. And I did May from Turning Red, and I think this is my favourite from this book that I coloured this month. I love the bright colour scheme, the reds, the pinks, the teals and the yellows. I think it really pops on the page. That was everything I coloured in Disney Vitro. And then since getting those two books, I had been neglecting Disney Princesses for a while. I have been colouring this book in order. So I've got up to page, sorry, I've got to page 37 now. First one I did this month was the castle from The Little Mermaid. I always like how the castle pages turn out. And then I also did the Mulan page. Really like that one. But my favourite one was Moana. She is so sweet. And yeah, I've got a few more done in the Disney Princesses book, which I've been working front to back. I've done 37 coloured pages in this. And yeah, these are just fun to do in the evening when I don't want to think about colouring. So those are all of my completed pages for the month of April 2024. It was 27 pages, so a lot to go through. My voice is definitely feeling it. Let me know down in the comments below which was your favourite page that I coloured this month. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye everyone.